Hi friends, it's Sarah from rufflesandrainboots.com, and today I'm making Valentine's Day gnome couple with an adorable little love note and a cute bouquet. If you would like to make them with me, just boop and boop. Stick around. As always, please give this video a like so that I know you're here crafting with me. So you can see this little cutie was either sewn or hot glued. It works both ways. We're going to combine two patterns. We're going to create bendable hats so we can make that cute little heart join in the middle. I'm going to be using felt, fleece, polyfill, and poly pellets. These are non-odor, non-moisture absorbing items that I use to weight my gnomes. I'll put all of the supplies listed below, but you're going to need something for the nose. You're going to need Mongolian fur or yarn or anything for your beard and your braids. Now, I'm going to be using first the body and base from the free felt traditional gnome pattern. I'll put the link down below to that. We're just going to cut it out from premium felt, which is that thicker felt, and we're going to attach the base. It doesn't matter whether you sew or you hot glue the base on. It's just important that in the next step, you have this part really well attached. So go ahead, pull all of your seams on this, give it a yank, make sure there are no holes and that you have a solid base. We're going to then put in 1/2 cup of poly pellets for weight. And I just do that with a funnel because these bodies are pretty small. For the rest of it, about 1 inch to the top, I'm going to stuff the body full of polyfill. And I do get asked a lot about how much polyfill. And the answer is when you can squeeze the body and it bounces back to its original shape, you have enough. Go ahead, roll it between your hands to distribute the fill, drop it on the table to make sure it lands where you want every time. Now, the other pattern we're going to be using is the Scandinavian Sweeties hat, the arms, and the mitten. Now, the mitten here, I'm doing it the quote hard way, which is to cut the pieces and then sew, but you can also sandwich two pieces of fleece together, draw on the pattern, sew to the seam allowance, and then just cut it afterwards. All right, so once you have the arms, the mittens, and the hat done, snip it, test all the seams, whether you've sewn or glued, and then flip everything right side out. Next up, we're just going to make the arms the easiest way possible, which is you just stick the arm right into the mitten and hot glue it on. You can also sew this on if you would like. You can add a trim, whatever floats your fancy right here. So here we have two arms. I'm going to repeat that for the little girl. For the little guy, I'm just putting 3 small foam flowers I got from Daiso Japan together, wrapping them like they had these long wires, and I just wrapped it all together and then covered that in a white 1/8 inch ribbon because he wanted to be fancy because he's giving them, this bouquet to the love of his life and all that. For the noses, I'm using a 1-inch wood round for the boy and a 3/4 inch wood round for the girl. For the beards and the braids, the two cuts are the same. I'm just using 1.5 inch wide by about 3 inches long of the fur. I'm going to trim off the two bottom corners of the beard, and that gives me a nice little shape that's going to come together in the center so that his beard isn't like all over the place when we put the flowers in his hands. Now for the girl, I put the material on, put the faux fur on, split it down the center, and then put the nose right below it. And that way it looks like two ponytails on the side. All right, so for the guy, I'm just making sure to get this beard on. You can either glue like I'm doing here or hand sew. If you are sewing, go ahead and stitch that fabric all the way around the outside edge. For the arms, again, glue or sew them down. I'm gluey because I'm lazy. I did use pins to make sure everything was in the right place. And for the nose, this is a much bigger nose than the little girl, so I wanted to put it a little bit higher because it is a little larger. And this way, just the bottom's going to poke out. It's going to be cute. All right, and now here I'm giving him a faux mustache by just splitting the Mongolian fur right on the outside of the nose. And I'm just going to bring those 2 points together. And you can save this style if you want by putting a UV resistant hair mousse or gel and or a hairspray. I prefer not to put any of those in because they do yellow over time. All right, so here I'm going to just flip up the front of the hat, and I'm doing this because I'm lazy and I didn't want to hem the hat. But we're going to take care of the rest of it. You don't really need a hem on it. So for the bendable hat, you need two things. Number one is polyfill, and the second is floral wire. This is floral wire from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to loop over one end over the edge of a pen, stick it all the way up along that back seam into the tip, and then I'm going to add glue right into this little sewn channel here. If you did hot glue your hat, just put that right next to the nice rigid seam of that hot glue. Just make sure you don't let the top of the hat fall into the hot glue. All right, so to get the bottom, you're just going to bend the bottom over of that wire, pop it all the way down that back seam, and then kind of poke it out the bottom until you can see it. Turn that 90 degrees, and then make sure you stuffed your hat all the way through the tip, because this body is a lot smaller, and so you have a lot of generous leeway in here. If you want to make a really scrunchy hat, you can just make a shorter wire or make a, like kind of bend the wire down on itself. You can make a tall hat like we have right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach that nose on first, and then I'm going to faux hem all of the rest of it. Just making sure that I put the front all the way down over the edge of that beard, and then I'm gonna make sure I get the back seams aligned and the side of that hat goes over each of the arms, covering up where they join. That's it. And then I'm going to hot glue his little hands together. Now, I thought of this later because I have made these at least 18 months ago. You could put two little pieces of Velcro there, and then you could always be able to adjust whatever he's holding. But I didn't think of that till right now. So let's make the little envelope. So all I did was, you can see she's still pinned over there. I didn't even have her finished, but I just measured. I wanted about a 2-inch wide envelope, and I needed 3 inches high because I'm going to flip up the bottom inch here, like just like that, and then flip down the top, and it's going to kind of overlap. It's not going to be all the way to the line, but all I'm doing here is just making a note on there with a pen about how to round off a corner, and then I'm just going to cut both sides off because I'm lazy. You can cut this with your Cricut. I think they even have an envelope, like a free envelope thing in Cricut Design Space. But at this point, I wanted a little bit of extra because I'm extra, and I just wanted to make a heart out of embroidery thread. But then I realized I don't know how to embroider, so I took a pen and made a little heart right on it, and then just filled that in with vertical lines. See? You can teach an old dog new tricks. I'm not very good at hand embroidery. But once that was done, I just took the same color thread, and then I went in and out all the way along the outside of the bottom of my envelope. Now, this, I didn't backstitch it. I just went in and out just so I wouldn't put something important in here or sand, but it held. I mean, it looks cute too. So I just went all the way around until I got to the other side, and then I just hid that under the flap. You can see I got lazy holding it there too, so I just put a clip. But I'm just gonna tie that off and then tuck it after I cut it right into the envelope. Again, if you have some Velcro, it'd be a really good idea to put a little Velcro dot right here. But I used hot glue because I didn't think of the Velcro way back when. I know a lot of people have been asking me about this little pair of gnomes. They have been in my craft room for more than a year and a half, and you always see them when I when I give you like little snippet shots there. I'm just decided to share these, even though the image quality isn't up to par with my normal stuff. I made these on a whim just to see if I could. All right, so now for the envelope, I just had to hold this here. Again, you can sew this to her little hands or use Velcro, but I chose to use hot glue and just held it there until it was dry so it didn't shift. And just parted her little pigtails right down the middle. I didn't even tie them off. I just pushed them together. And that's this cute little Valentine's Day gnome couple. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? You can get all of the supplies and the patterns below. And hey, as always, thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe for more crafty fun.